Hey, this is Harpo the Healer. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, thumbs up and subscribe. All about the blues harmonica. Well, you heard me play at the start there. I spared you my creativity today. Didn't do much. I always like to put, I always like to see me work at the start of things. It gives me an interest as well, I guess, and spontaneity. Straight in, one take, no messing. But that was extremely simple. I'm showing a very simple idea what you can do with almost nothing. Because today I just want to talk to you about playing in positions and one thing or another. This can be useful for people starting out and also for people who've been doing things a long time. So if you're just starting out, stick with it. And there are things on my channel that cover all bases. So you know, stick with it. What I'll probably do is I haven't had to listen to the take. I only did it once. If there's a bit more, I might shove it at the end on the way out. But something very, very simple that anybody could do in a fairly short space of time. Okay. Now, of course, when we play music, you know, we've got all our majors, minors, dominants, sevenths, diminished, half diminished, whole tone, half diminished. So half diminished a part of minors, aren't they? Okay. And you've got all your triad things of your augmenteds and your majors and your minors and your sevenths. Sevenths are all part of the same triad, aren't they? But you've got a category there. 340 Western scales. We don't really use most of these. Most players, you learn 2 or 3 positions, don't you? And then that's it. What I'd like to talk about today is that really we should be using more positions, and if you start out the right way, you will just use them. And in blues, it's not just about using 3 chords. You can use things a lot more sophisticated over blues, and it can sound great. I mean, what I'm doing at the start there is something very, very simple in just one very, very small idea, but it shows what you can do. All right? I mean, when we first start out, we learn these things, don't we? Second, third, first, sorry, fourth, Mum was going this morning, etc, etc. So we learn those blues scales really, don't we, to start with. And a lot of people in the first year or two will play probably in second and third. Now, in my last video I was sort of hinting, you know, that you should really play in all keys. And if you get with someone, the sooner you're kind of doing this, the better. And you won't use a lot of this. What I like to coach as well is that as you develop as a blues player, you can touch bits of these into different harmonies and play them. I mean, I said at the start, it's a very simple thing I'm doing in one little idea. I could do ideas where I'm showing you different substitutions and the band don't have to change. You know, if you're playing in more jazzy route, you'd get the guys would immediately take roots off to give you more scope for improvisation. Sometimes you're not boxed in, but the way that they play roots in blues puts you into certain categories, but you can do millions of things to create harmony change in a very subtle and interesting way to an audience, so you don't lose them. That's the thing, you don't want to be losing them. Now, here's the idea today for you. Alright, the great SRV. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go check it out. Stevie Ray Vaughan, the great blues player, did other little arrangement things as well, but by and large, blues player. Because it's about the approach. As I tell people on this, I'm a blues player. I might play things in different combinations, but at the end of the day, I play blues on this. Well, it's not just about a 1-4-5. Now I'm talking about, this is an idea of why you should be playing in these other positions. Stevie had an idea of, sometimes he shoved it at the front on live gigs. He probably shoved this idea at the end when he's finishing off, alright, and plays perhaps at the end just to string things out. But he also uses it as an introduction to a tune called Couldn't Stand the Weather. Sometimes I want to call it Never Mind the Weather or whatever, but it's Couldn't Stand the Weather. I always get confused because his original trailer video was actually in the pouring rain wrecking some of his instruments, I would suggest. Alright, so but I'm going to play this straight, so I'm not going to play blues on it. I'll play the line pretty straight so you get the idea. Alright, so just listen to this. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm just playing pretty straight on it, not really playing blues, alright? I'm just trying to show you the idea, okay? It's all about approach, because everything I do is blues, however you hear the format of going down on the track or the band or whatever. So, it's about the approach. So, what I'm doing there is I'm in third position. Then I went into first. Then I went into 11th. Then I went into 4th. Alright? And I played it just straight, you know, didn't even play anything on it, didn't play blues on it really, but I just to show you, okay? Then I went in and winged a figure off Stevie Ray Vaughan's Couldn't Stand the Weather, alright? Now, if you were playing a blues in first position, then you start out in first. Then you'd go to 11th position. Then you go from 11th, right? Where are we? Yeah, well, then we go into 9th position. And we finish in 2nd. Alright? And if we were playing a blues in 2nd, we'd start out in 2nd position. Into 12th. Now here's the thing, you would use 10th position next, and then you'd finish in 3rd position. Alright, so I'm showing that even in this little drop, those are the 3 types of blues you probably play. 2nd position blues, 3rd position blues and 1st position blues, wouldn't you? You might play in 4th position blues. But those are the progressions you would normally play. And if you want to attach this, then look already, as I mentioned and showed on the other video, how 11th and 12th position are really important, particularly when you're playing swing blues. You can see that the easy keys, or the easiest to play on this, is 12th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Right, but now you can see 11th and 10th and 9th position come to the fore. And with little substitutions and things that you do, you can use these things in a very subtle way over straightforward blues bounds without having to have any sophisticated movement and change that we'd expect in modern jazz in order to make us a lot freer. Alright? So we can just do these things now and give a lot more creative in the mind, and we're not losing the audience. Alright? So there's a lot of scope for millions of things to be done here. Now that only leaves, doesn't it, 7th and 8th position. Well, yeah, learn them. They will come in. 7th isn't that bad and 8th isn't that bad if you work on them. The thing is that most of the time when you want to play fast, or you want to play quite fluent and fast, you'll find that those other positions I talked about around this side of the scale are a lot easier and more manageable, because it's just the ergonomics of the harmonica. That's all it is. It's just the way it's laid out. And the sensible thing is always get a harmonica laid out the same way. You know, if you learn, you know, if you're a piano player or guitar player, whatever other instruments you play, you know, you work with the format. You don't go down and get the piano to change the way it's laid out so that you learn, so it's easier to learn one thing, do you? And the big mistake of buying a harmonica from a manufacturer that has a different or unusual tuning is that unless every single firm makes that style of tuning, you're scuppered, aren't you, if that firm decides to pack up or decides not to make that particular model. You've had it. You might be spending 10 years at something and whoa, you've blown it. So people don't think that way, do they? But you've got to think of the bigger picture here. Alright, so there's an idea, the great SRV, something simple, but I'm just trying to put over, learn to play in all the positions, and it's not too difficult. You will favour other positions, but you should incorporate them, and whoever's educating you, you should find that they'll get you to do this fairly early on after your first year, into your second year. You don't need to spend lots of money on expensive harmonicas or anything like that. It's not necessary for this kind of music, or even in you know, more advanced things. I don't think it's necessary. You might be wasting a lot of money that could be spent on simply playing, you know, rather than spending your time looking at all these things. Alright, so that's my rant for today. Thumbs up and subscribe. You can get me for lessons on Harpo the Healer Wicks. I'll maybe shove something out at the end. If not, might not have anything left on that tape, but if there is, I'll shove it at the end, just to show you how you can do something really simple and easy without even thinking. Anybody can do it, and it won't take you long to get going on this thing. So check out my podcast, got a good one out just now. I'll put a link in the description. There's on lots of things to do with blues harmonica, lots of things on all sorts of subjects. The latest one is on the con artist, which is quite an interesting thing, I think. Okay, stay safe out there. I'll catch you on the rebound.